would bring you right back. It could be a trigger, so to speak. And then it would disenable you to be able to hear correctly to what somebody's actually really saying. And I know everybody gets angry sometimes or raises their voice and things like that, but it is a barrier to communication.
There's another thing that I wanted to share that I don't know if I've talked to you before about, and when I would see this taking place, this domestic abuse, my mom being beaten, I would have nightmares about it. And I would have nightmares for months, in some cases years. And my stepdad was always the bad guy in the nightmares. He was either beating my mom or one of us, but usually my mom. And it was just like going back to that imaginary friend. I was trying to find something in my life to kind of take my mind off of that. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Trying to find something good in humanity or something good in life that doesn't involve violence, you know.
And you have to imagine it for it to be real. Hold on, we have another caller waiting still. And I'm just going to bring him on. Kenny, stay on the line. And we welcome Patrick. Welcome to Moments of Clarity.
Hey, Tiffany and
Hi.
Joe. I had a kind of a question, and then I'll hang up and listen. But, you know, this seems like I know it's a societal problem. But how do we start to curb the domestic violence? Because we always hear like the story after the fact. But like, how do we, because it's not like if a kid's going through this at home, and I'm thinking, well, how does he know how to deal with that? You know, it's not like you have a class or, you know, how does he know, like, if I can identify with some of these issues, who do I go to ask for help? And then,
as the kid, or if you see a kid in trouble, which one are you?
Well, just like let's just say someone's going through this at home, and the kid comes in, how does he know what to do with that? You know, who does he go to? Because it seems like we don't really tell kids how to deal with that, really.
Mm-hmm.
Are you asking how to stop it from happening in the future?
Or how to help a child that's already experiencing it?
As a societal problem,
that's very difficult. It's very difficult to help a child who's experiencing it because the child doesn't want to tell anybody.
So,
when the child tells somebody in the family tells them to shut up.
Well, that's my point. Is like how do we change that narrative?
Well, there's signs that you can tell if somebody's isolating or change in behavior or drop in grades. I know teachers are trained to look for this stuff too, as well as counselors. And you can see behavioral differences or lashing out or marks on them, loss in weight and disturbance in sleep, bedwetting, all that stuff. And if it's a child that doesn't know what to do, what Kenny's saying, I understand. Like that people that come from abusive home, like Joe, you can elaborate on this too. But back in the day, you know, as a child, it would have been hard for you to tell people what's going on. First of all, I think the kids are embarrassed when it's happening, and they feel ashamed that it's their fault, and so it prevents them from coming forward. I think the schools are trying to bring into more school psychologists and guidance counselors and warning signs. But what do you think, Joe?
I was never embarrassed. Not me. When I would go around my extended family, and once a year or so, I would see my father, and I would tell people what was taking place with my mother and myself and my siblings, and nothing was ever accomplished. And what I'm saying is, instead of them calling social services or trying to have an intervention, call the cops, anything is something, right? They would just get on the phone and ask all these questions and cuss them out. And when I would get back to my home, back into the trenches, I had hell to pay. And there was an unwritten rule: don't put our business in the streets. In other words, yeah, if you do, it's your ass, okay? It's your butt. It's going to be your butt. You're going to pay a heavy price if if you do so. And
okay, what happens is like what you're saying. A child, if he then goes outside the family, if somebody goes to investigate it, it's very hard to prove. And now the kid is getting more abuse for going outside the family.
So you're speaking, Kenny, you're speaking from your experience.
No, I'm talking from. I've spent the last 15 years talking to abused children, the homeless, drug addicts. Believe me, I spent 15 years talking to these people, being one of them. These are the stories that I've been getting from them. Besides my own story, I have stories from other people that would it makes mine like, why should I complain? Like what they've gone through is 100 times worse than me.
Yeah, I mean it's never easy. It's not all the time though, but yeah, it does happen.
What do you mean it's not all the time?
Not every situation is the same.
No, but they're very similar in certain regards.
So I guess what I'm trying to say really is just, like our society doesn't seem like, because we're so secluded in our homes, like we don't even know what's going on with our neighbors, It just doesn't seem like we don't have that family union or that neighborhood that, where people feel safe, where they can go out and ask for help. It's just, everybody's doing their own thing in their house, and we have no idea what's going on anymore. And it seems like with the way social media is going and everything, it just makes us secluded more or less. So
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. It's just I'm just looking for, I guess, some kind of hope that there's something in that we're doing as a society to hopefully.
Well, times are changing. These things are now being talked about. Girls are coming out and saying that they were being raped as little kids now. And domestic violence is back in the news again. The girl who really brought it in the forefront about 17 years ago was Christina Aguilera with her album Stripped. And at some point, she gave up domestic violence as her cause because people don't want to hear it. But about 2 weeks ago, she brought it back up on social media, and she took an award for it. So it's back in the news again, and hopefully this time people will do something about it, hopefully.
So yeah, I agree with Tiffany about these signs with these kids. I work after school program with elementary age kids, and just yesterday, this one individual, he was really acting out. I mean, it was bad at first, and it just escalated. He got worse and worse and worse, and he tried to run away, all these types of things. And eventually I sat down with him, and me and a few of my peers, and we talked to him, and he said his mom was being mean to his dad and to him, and he just started crying. But, we have to be kind of observant, like have a head on a swivel and see something, say something.
Mm-hmm.
That this kid or this neighbor, if you notice this lady is wearing shades, and behind those shades, her face is all swollen up, and she has black eyes. We, out of human kindness, should, ask if we can help or what's going on. Is there anything I can do to help you? For us to not be involved in those smallest little ways like that, we should be ashamed. There's a way you can do it without prying or being nosy. Just out of concern for another human, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. You guys, I'm gonna
appreciate your guys' time.
Thank you, Patrick, and thank you, Kenny, for calling in. I'm going to let you guys both go. It's time for our second break, and we'll be back with Moments of Clarity in just a moment. Please stay tuned.
We will return to Moments of Clarity with Tiffany Warner after these messages.
This is the Tan Talk Radio Network.
Are you looking to expand your knowledge in the mental health field and earn CEU credits at the same time? DID Discovering Hope is having their annual Creating Resilience Conference on November 15th and 16th, and it's open to all trauma survivors and therapists. 2 days of educational workshops will be led by internationally respected experts, including keynote speaker Dr. Colin A. Ross. For mental health professionals, 11 hours of CEUs are available. For more information or to register, visit diddiscoveringhope.org. Once again, that's diddiscoveringhope.org.
Hi, this is Tiffany Warner, your host of Moments of Clarity. Living with a mental health disorder is not easy. If you or someone you know are struggling with this, please know it's so important to seek treatment, and I'm here to help. Please visit the website at momentsofclaritywithtiffany.com to view blog posts and resources on this site to help educate and inspire you to take action, because there's no shame in seeking help for mental health. While you're there, please take a few seconds to sign up for my email list. You'll get some extremely valuable educational and entertaining content that can be sent right to your inbox each week. Plus, you'll also get instant and free access to my guide on managing your anxiety. You can also follow me on Twitter at MOC with Tiffany and at Facebook at Tiffany Warner. And once again, the website is momentsofclaritywithtiffany.com. Thank you so much for your support and for listening to your show, because change can only come when we stand together as one. Hi, this is Tiffany Warner, your host of Moments of Clarity. I'd like to give a shout out to musician-songwriter Don Lawson, who wrote, produced, and performed all the vocals and instruments on my Moments of Clarity theme song. Don gained his inspiration as a mental health counselor himself. He's always looking for artists to record his songs, and you can hear more of Don's music at reverbnation.com/Don Lawson. You can also check him out on Twitter at Don Lawson Music. Thank you so much, Don, for your contribution to Moments of Clarity and ending the stigma on mental health. It's awesome.
This is the Tan Talk Radio Network.
Now back to Moments of Clarity with Tiffany Warner, licensed mental health counselor. To engage in the conversation, call 866-826-1340. Here's Tiffany.
Hi, welcome back. And this is Moments of Clarity. I'm Tiffany Warner. I'm a licensed mental health counselor. I'm your host. And wow, we're talking about domestic violence, abuse, child abuse, post-traumatic stress, trauma. And it's a serious topic, and it could be a trigger for some of the listeners, in case you are wondering. But wow, what a powerful discussion, and different points of view, and all are appreciated. And my guest today is a published author of the book called When the Dust Settled, and I want to welcome back Joe Potosi.
Thank you so much.
And wow, so Joe, this is just last 10 minutes. It's getting close to the end of our show. But so what are some things you want people to take home? And I want people to read your book. It's powerful. It's your journey, and it's well written. And it's definitely a tearjerker a little bit. But
well, thank you so much. Okay, first of all, I want to say this right here. Your condition does not have to be your conclusion. This is what I mean. If you are a victim of domestic violence, a woman, perhaps, maybe even a man, maybe in that relationship, you were talked down to, you were treated worse than dirt, I want to encourage you to remind you that your value is unmeasurable. There is so much potential in your life. You have so much to offer the world in which you live, your neighborhood, your city, etc. Just pick yourself back up. You fall down 9 times, get up 10, because you're an overcomer. Secondly, as a child who lived in a house where domestic violence took place all the time, it affected me directly, emotionally, mentally. But I broke that cycle. Mm-hmm. I am not an abuser. I don't beat my wife. I don't put hands on any woman in a hurtful kind of way because they upset me or this or that. Furthermore, I've taught my sons how to respect all people and to always treat women with the utmost respect and never, ever, any other kind of way. And I think that's huge, because the fact of the matter is there's a lot of young men out there today who don't have the skills. They're never taught the skills from a father figure. And so they just go into the world and they figure, well, if a girl says something to me or tries to hit me, I'm going to hit her like it too. And that's the problem, right? And these people get into these relationships, they have excuses together, they don't make a commitment, they don't get married in the sight of man and God. And when things get hard, their adage is either fight or you run. You leave. And a lot of people nowadays, like I said, 2014, 700,000 cases of domestic violence